What's up, guys? It's your boy Palacio. We back.
How's it going, everybody? We're finally back.
If you're wondering why we're using one mic, it's because I forgot the other one, so don't judge us. But yeah, we back. We're doing this podcast over voting. November 3rd. That's going to be the day that determines the next 4 years. We're talking about whether it's important to vote, whether you should vote, who to vote for. If you want to talk about that, people, the hate level is very high for people who you voting for and all that. We live in Texas, me and Eli, and it's a majority red state, but over the years that's starting to change little by little. A lot more Democratic people are starting to pop up here, and this is going to be an important election.
Yeah, it's because all you Californians don't California my Texas. Nah, but yeah, it's that favorite time of the year for everybody where things start to get a little bit more spicy. Let us know if you voted already too, by the way, in the comments. Yeah, drop a comment, say if you voted and whatnot. But he said he did the early voting. I haven't done the early voting yet. Just kind of haven't gotten out there. I'm gonna try to vote. I'm planning on voting. Just probably have to stand in one of those long ass lines. If you haven't voted early, your job is required to like give you time off to go vote. So that's kind of like a joker card I'm finna pull.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, it's actually illegal for your job to tell you no, that you cannot vote. So remember that, kids.
Yeah, I think it's really important to vote, even if your state is majority of the other way, different party. Let's say, for example, you're Democrat, but you live in mostly Republican, and most likely because of the Electoral College and all that, that your state's going to go the opposite way. It's still important to vote because, one vote matters, and at the very least, your voice is heard, and it's your right. And I think that if you don't exercise your rights, then it's really easy, and it's a lot easier for the government to take that away. Now, when it gets to the topic of who you should vote for, I think that's completely your choice. I think that this election, it's really been fueled by hate, and depending on who you vote for, you're either an idiot or a socialist or you're a racist, and I don't think that that's true at all. I know plenty of people who are voting Democrat that believe in certain Republican rights. They don't like Trump. And I know a lot of people who are super hardcore Trump that are one of the most open-minded people, minorities or whatever around. It's really frustrating to see that they're dividing us so strong. And it happens with all election years, people want to know who you're voting for, and then based on that, they determine if you're a good person or not based on morals or character or how normal people assess, if you're a good person or not. It's just, it's strange to see election year, especially 2020, with all the wildness that's been going on, how easily people are divided. I think that, you should go out and vote. Once it's done, it's done. And then if you judge people based on who you vote for, then just don't ask. It's not a big deal.
Yeah, same way he said. I really don't care like who you vote for. Just don't be racist. It's stupid. There's no point of being racist.
Either way, after November 3rd, I'm going to be super happy no matter who wins, because I'm tired of getting these text messages telling me to go vote. I'm tired of seeing all these ad campaigns just talking shit about the other person. It's so annoying, dude. You think that, Lil Shorty's hitting you up after weeks and weeks. You finally getting that text, and then it's like, are you registered to vote? Do you have time to talk about, why you should vote this way or that way? And I've never gotten a personalized letter from, I think, anyone, like a personal letter that's not from like a billing agency or something. And I opened that hoe and I was super excited, and it was like, oh, let me tell you why you need to vote for me. I'm like, oh, damn.
Yeah, those like voting texts are pretty aggressive. Like, I have one, they didn't even text for me. They text for like family members asking for them. I'm like, bro, this is not so-and-so. Like, leave me alone. And I told one some kind of vulgar stuff one time because I was just having a bad day. So I told him, shut the bleep up. And they called me a Trump supporter. I'm like, bro, I don't support nobody. Like, they both suck. That's kind of what sucks about this election. Like, to me personally, it's kind of like you got to pick the lesser of the evil. Which, I mean, it sucks. You think living in America, you think we would have like a top, like, obvious candidate choice, or like two like really good candidate choices. We're just like, damn, like, if either one of them win this election, like we're gonna be set, like it's gonna be cool. But the far leftists, the far rightists, they're both scary to me, in my opinion. Especially like we live in America, we live in a free country, freedom of this. But these people push their, I don't want to call it narratives, but they push their agenda like so far to the left, so far to the right. That's not American to me, and that's what kind of scares me about voting. Like right now, is they're so far on one side when you can't run a country like that, in my opinion. Because I feel like when you get to that far, and you want the country ran that one way, I'm not sure if that's like really communism, but to me, it's kind of like you're pushing a one way thing. You're not pushing like a 2-way street, basically, which is kind of scary in these kind of times. Nobody can find that middle ground, and that's kind of why I feel like this country is kind of so stuck of like where we are, because nobody wants to compromise, nobody wants to find that middle ground.
Me personally, I feel that there's some laws that I favor to the right, and there's some laws that I favor to the left, and the fact that you can't agree that there's something on either side that has benefits, it's just wild. You have to pick a side, and there are so many millions of Americans. There's no way that we can have just two parties anymore. Unless you want to waste your vote and dot in Kanye on that election. But that's for another podcast. We have different wants and needs of a different generation, and people who are coming up, they expect different things. You have to change with the times, and if you're holding back to certain aspects of the way things were, it's not going to make progress. I understand that there's traditions and being American means stuff, but there's a different change in the world that's going on, and I think that we gotta progress. That's all I'm going to say about that, because I'm not making very very much sense. I'm not whatever. I got you.
Like, to backpack on kind of what he's saying, it's these people grew up like the primary lives were like in the 60s or 70s, and like back then during that time, ask your parents about it, it's a totally different world. Like back then they weren't open to like the races like we have now. Like they're not open to the minority races how they were back then. Like this generation, it's not uncommon to see a Hispanic, an African American, like someone of a minority to be in a high position. It's a little bit different now, and especially like with the LGBT community, it's more acceptable in this day and age. Like to me, it's not a big deal if I see someone who swings the same way as their gender. Like I don't care, that's their life. I don't really give a shit. It's these people, they grew up so long ago, and they're both old as hell, and they're calling each other out of their prime. Like y'all are both out of y'all's prime. Like y'all are 2 years away from the casket. Keep it real. It's just so different. That's why it's so hard. Like for me, it's hard to like really like see these candidates as somebody I really want to represent like my values, my beliefs, because truthfully they both really don't. I have stuff that, like he says, I do have stuff that falls in Republican or Democrat. I don't swing all the way left. I don't swing all the way right, because there's a common ground in the middle. And to me, it's really not that hard of a common ground to see. It's kind of obvious, and I don't understand like why it's so hard for us to get there. Like why they make it such a big deal. It's like, let's say like Biden had some Republican views. The far leftists are going to hate that and be like, oh, he's not a true Democrat. He's Republican. He's this, he's that. And when truthfully, like it shouldn't matter. I like you have to be in the middle for I think this country to start like going places. And not only is the president election like important, like the president's very important, obviously. But one thing that like you need to research on, what you need to vote for, is like the Senate, like the Congress, like that house is super important to the election. Like you have to do your research on who's gonna be like talking to the president, who's coming up with laws. That is almost, I don't want to say it's more important, but it's pretty damn close to like who you're gonna vote for president, because those people are the ones who really put those bills on the office of the president. Like they're like, hey, like this is what our people want down in Texas, down in Georgia, down in California, Louisiana. Like this is what the people need, this is what the people want. And those people you really, really have to like know like what their views are, because that, I'm telling you, that's like very important, because the president's not going to change everything. We saw that with Obama. Obama wanted certain things done. It's tough for him to get it done, because although Obama was a Democrat, Texas was still a red state. So we have our Republican like senators and stuff like that. And I'm not saying like that's a bad thing, because like you hope that they can work together and figure something out, but it's you have to vote for the people who who like have the beliefs as you do.
Yeah, and I think it's important. I want to make one thing clear that if me as a U.S. citizen, if you're a Democrat, I want you to go and vote. If you feel like you're going to vote for Biden, I want you to go out and vote. If you're a Republican, I want you to go out and vote. If you're a Trump supporter, I want you to go out and vote, because the way I view things may not be the way that majority of people view things. If I think that I'm right all the time, and then we take a survey and it says, actually, you're wrong most of the time, I won't know that until we vote. The country won't know what everybody wants unless everybody takes part in it. If 10% of the United States is the only people who are voting, then only 10% of the U.S. gets their voice heard, and that might not be the majority opinion. So whether you're Democrat, Republican, Trump, or Biden, whether you usually don't vote at all, but you might have an opinion this election, I want you to go out and vote, because the only way that we're going to understand where we need to take this based on most of the people's needs and the majority of people who want things a certain way is to get your voice heard. If you're always complaining that nothing ever changes, but you're not going out and voting, there's a problem.
Shut the hell up.
That's basically a good one too. If you're on Twitter and you just bash Trump all day, but you're not voting against him, what are you doing? If you're bashing Biden all the time, but you're not voting, I don't understand what that's gonna do. If you want to make a change, you got to vote. You got to vote. It's a right. It's a right that we have the privilege in this country that we're able to do, and I'm very happy that we're able to. You should go out and vote. It's going to take an hour out of your day, even if it takes 12 hours out of your day. It's an important thing to do.
I mean, because y'all got to remember, like, these people, they work for us. They're servants of the public. So, whether you think about it, like, they should be. That's kind of like the idea behind it, is they work for us. Like, they're our voices. And obviously, in the times we're in right now, or whether it's 1920 here or 2020, I can't tell the difference sometimes with the shit that's going on. But, like, these people are supposed to be our voice. So, if we're not happy with the job they're doing, this is our chance to make it known. Like, hey, you suck. Get the hell out of office. Like, you're not doing nothing for me. So, like, it's very important to really do your research on, like, the Senate and, like, people who are going to, represent your state. It's very important to do that research. And even, like, really do your research with the presidential candidates. I'm not going to tell you to swing one way, swing one the other way. I really don't care who you vote for, as long as you're not, like, a bad person to me. I think a lot of the stuff gets lost in the supporters of both candidates, Like, if, let's say I was Republican, he was Democrat, I'm going to look at him a different way. Like, if I was, like, far Republican, obviously. Like, oh, you're a Democrat. You hate America. You hate this. Get the hell out of this country if you don't like it. And if, like, if he's the leftist and I'm the rightist, he's like, oh, you're a fascist or racist or whatever because you're voting for him. Like, I think the narrative of, like, both candidates, of their supporters, need to die for the candidates. Because I don't think it's that way. And I know Texas already has, I think, like 9 million early voters.
Yeah, it's a lot.
I think it's, like, a record-breaking thing, and I really hope that they did their research and they put the time and effort in to really see who they want to represent this state, this country, and so on and so forth.
All right, guys, that's gonna be it for the podcast. Hope you go out and vote. Check out our other podcasts. We talk about some other stuff. We're gonna try to get these out as soon as we can. If you want to follow us on Instagram, we'll put those links below. You could follow our Twitter. Our links below. If you want to have a conversation or tell us that we're wrong, tell us that we're right, that you hate us, comment below. Let us know. It's not going to faze us, but we're always open to discussion. All right, you guys have a great day. Don't forget to go to the gym and lift something heavy. Peace.